Am I the asshole for not giving my daughter a car for her 16th birthday and cutting her off financially?
I, 48 male, have a daughter Lisa, 15 female, from my first marriage.
I'm not on particularly good terms with her mother, and Lisa unfortunately became an outlet for her resentment towards me, which ended up souring our relationship massively. Lisa is a good person, but unfortunately she takes after her mom in terms of demeanor and often acts rude and entitled.
A few years ago I married again.
Lisa decided to not attend my wedding and she said a bunch of hurtful things to my then fiancée Rosemary, 38 female. Since then, our relationship got even worse. When Rosemary and I welcomed our son a year and a half ago, Lisa sent me a text saying that since I have my perfect baby now, I could stop pestering her and trying to play family with her.
It hurt me deeply, and I ended up distancing myself from her, though I kept sending her $100 a month as her allowance.
Recently we had an unplanned addition to our family. Long story short, Rosemary's sister, who wasn't a good parent to start with, terminated her custody rights over her son Blake, 17 male. Rosemary and I decided to take Blake in. Unfortunately, a few years ago Blake got in a horrible car wreck that left him permanently disabled. Luckily he can somewhat walk and doesn't need 24/7 assistance around the house, but that's about it. Blake is an amazing person and he quickly became a part of our family. I decided to give the $100 allowance to Blake instead. He was beyond happy and grateful. I also made a hard decision and gave him my car. It's a 22 Cadillac Escalade, and I was planning on getting rid of it this year anyway since Lisa is turning 16 in a month and I wanted to gift it to Lisa. Now it's Blake's car and he absolutely loves it. He really needed a car because his mobility issues don't let him get around easily anymore, and it changed his life massively. Of course Lisa didn't like it. When she realized that she wasn't getting any allowance, she called me and asked what's wrong. It was the first call I received from her in a year, if not more. I explained that now when my family had expanded, I'm not having enough money. I'll be still sending her mom the child support payments as per court agreement, but she shouldn't expect anything extra. She asked me about the car since she knew about my plans on giving her a car. I told her that now the situation changed and I no longer could give her a car. I'll admit, what I said next was probably assholish of me, since I told her that I now have 2 children to play family with and asked her to stop pestering me. This caused her to blow up completely to the point she got her mom to call me and scream at me, and so did her new husband. They threatened to sue me. Lisa said she'll go no contact and so on. I just brushed off the threats, especially since Rosemary is a lawyer and I made my peace with poor contact with Lisa years ago. They also managed to write a few mean things to Rosemary and Blake, and this is what got me wondering whether I was an asshole here. You're the asshole, you're the adult, and haven't acted like it for basically her entire life. She was, what, 10, 11, 12? When you divorced? She takes after her mom, aka. I did absolutely no parenting and am shocked she acts like the parent who actually raised her. You distanced yourself because a child said something mean. OMG, seriously? Will you do the same when your son does the same? 'Cause guess what? No teen has an always positive relationship with their parents. More than likely, your kid will say 1 they hate you, 2 you're ruining their life, 3 they didn't choose to be born or something similar. So you just gonna dip when he gets to that stage? You are the asshole. Lisa was, what, 12 years old when you got remarried? At that age, it's understandable that she copped an attitude, and then felt further alienated after you had another child. But instead of reassuring her that she's still a priority to you, you threw in the towel. Then you doubled down after taking in Blake. Your disdain for Lisa, and the hateful way in which you compare her to your ex, suck. Did you promise her the car and then renege? If so, double asshole move. Did you ever seek therapy? Enjoy your extra $100 per month, and don't act like a victim in the future if you realize how badly you screwed up. Not that I really think you have the capacity to self-reflect. I'll admit, what I said next was probably assholish of me, since I told her that I now have 2 children to play family with and asked her to stop pestering me. You are the asshole massively for this. You are the asshole. Let me get this straight. Your daughter takes after the parent who raised her. What a shock when she was like 12 she was rude to your new wife, an adult,
who apparently cannot take a child insulting her instead of trying to repair your relationship with your daughter and, make an effort as her father and the adult in the situation. You decided to distance yourself. You then decide to give her allowance to Blake because, oh right, as you told your daughter, you've decided to literally replace her. Your daughter has every right to be absolutely disappointed in you.
You've barely shown up for her as father.
I told her that I now have 2 children to play family with and asked her to stop pestering me.
Disgusting. When she realized that she wasn't getting any allowance. Info. Does this mean you didn't sit down and explain the change to her and just let her discover it when the money didn't show up? You were the asshole for how you handled it. It's fine to not give her a car. Stooping to her teenage level and throwing her teenage words back at her is not fine.
You're the adult, you're the parent. Your job was to understand that the divorce and you remarrying was tough on her, and to be a good dad. That means being there, being open and loving, even when she's angry or doesn't want to see you.
You keep the door open and let her know it's always open, because she's your kid and you love her. You didn't do that. Am I the asshole for going to the police immediately when I found out my parents took out debt in my name?
My parents took out credit cards and loans in my name.
It was fine when they were paying the bills, but they got behind. I don't have a key to the mailbox, so I never saw the bills or anything. I just finished my 3rd year of university and I was going to move out. That would require me to get a credit check and stuff. My parents freaked out and forbid me from moving out. They said it was stupid that I would waste money on moving out when I could save money living at home. They don't like my boyfriend, so I thought that was their issue. But not was I wrong. Long story short, I am about $60,000 in debt because of them. I cannot afford to pay that off. I told them that they needed to clear the debt immediately and change the house rules so my boyfriend could spend the night.
They said that they didn't have the money to pay the debt and that I could not strong-arm them into changing the rules of their house.
I called my auntie and asked her if I could please come stay with her for a bit. She let me and asked a lot of questions. Then she showed me a dozen Reddit posts about parents screwing up their kids' future and kids allowing it. I went to the police and reported it. My parents got arrested and charged.
They are furious with me.
I know they didn't spend the money on me. I do not know what they did spend it on. I don't care. I feel bad for them, but I'm not letting them fuck up my future. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It was fine when they were paying the bills. No. It wasn't. It is identity fraud and it is illegal. Put a freeze on your credit and monitor your reports from now on. Tell them you are furious with them as well. Not the asshole.
My parents took out credit cards and loans in my name.
It was fine when they were paying the bills, but they got behind. Not fine at all.
This is illegal and can affect you negatively.
My parents freaked out and forbid me from moving out.
This is a red flag.
Long story short, I am about $60,000 in debt because of them. This is exactly why taking out credit cards in your name was far from fine. My parents got arrested and charged.
They are furious with me.
I find it insane that they're mad at you for reporting a crime when they put you $60,000 in the hole. No, you are not the asshole, not the asshole.
Your parents committed fraud by taking out debt in your name without your knowledge, which has put your financial future at risk. Reporting them to the police was necessary to protect yourself from further harm and hold them accountable for their actions.
You have every right to take legal action and prioritize your own well-being in this situation. Not the asshole. That's exactly the correct move.
There are only 2 options in this situation, which comes up all the time on our legal advice. Either you report them to the police and get the debt off, or you accept the debt as your own. Not the asshole up. Not only you are well within your right to do this, but it's imperative for your financial health to report identity theft to the police. No matter what your parents or any of your extended family tells you, stay the course and make sure that this debt is cleared. Yes, that means your parents will go to prison for a long time, but that's what they deserve because this is a crime that destroys lives.
Also, do not under any circumstances make any payments on this debt. Doing so will only make it harder for you to get it cleared. Good luck, Op.
The reason they couldn't get them in their name was because of bad credit from previously not paying their bills.
Now they are screwing things up in your life.
Bad credit can keep you from renting, buying a house, and even from getting certain jobs.
You did not give them permission and they probably have done it for years. Get a credit check, freeze your credit and start trying to clean this up.
They deserve this.
Not the asshole.
This is the only way for you to move forward.
Am I the asshole for telling my nephew's father he cannot stay at my house with his wife and her kids? My nephew, George, lives with me and my family. He is my sister's child, but she unfortunately passed away a few years ago. Her widower, Eric, remarried quickly.
George didn't get on with Eric's wife and kids and Eric paid no attention to him.
18 months ago he came to live with me.
Eric visits George at our house for 1 weekend a month, a longer visit during the summer, and we took him to see Eric at Christmas time.
All of these visits are without his wife and her children, as the therapist feels it's important for George and Eric to rebuild their individual relationship. I won't say facilitating this has been easy. I love George like he's my own child, and to watch Eric flounder with a child he was supposed to take care of breaks my heart. It's hard for my husband too. All this to say, we are on a short fuse with Eric. I feel I have to be honest about that. Anyway, Eric is meant to be coming to us in August for 2 weeks. A few days ago, he asked if he could bring his wife and her kids. Apparently she has been having a really tough time and is desperate for a holiday, as are the kids, WTF. Eric also said it's been a real strain to keep his wife and kids away from his son and splitting time has been hard and he really wants to start mending the relationship between all of them. I was livid, but I went and spoke to my husband, and then to George. George was hurt that his dad was suggesting bringing them, and said that he didn't want to see them. I went back to Eric and said I couldn't control where his wife and the kids are, but they won't be staying with us. If he wants to bring them, they can stay in a hotel and when he is not visiting George he can do what he wants. I made clear that I am upholding what's been recommended by the therapist George sees, which Eric knows because he has check-ins with the therapist. Both Eric and his wife have been up my ass about me not letting them stay. I have not blocked her because I like to collect evidence of what kind of person she is to send to Eric when he tries to act like she is not awful. Eric is saying he might not be able to come at all now because organizing childcare for the kids is going to be hard, and his wife is becoming resentful of him not being around, etc. Basically because I'm doing this, George might not see Eric at all for more than a weekend until Christmas. This is hurting me because Eric has been making a good effort until now. And George had been starting to trust him. I just feel like I'm ruining it. But if I let them all stay then Eric won't get any one-on-one time with George anyway. The wife will make sure of that, on top of us all having hellish houseguests. I am trying to enforce this boundary so that Eric has to man up and prioritize his son but maybe I'm being too harsh because it might end up the opposite. Not the asshole. Eric's wife wants to treat your house like a vacation? WTF. You're not a hotel FFS. Is Eric paying you any child support for caring for his son? Does he compensate you when he stays at your place? You are going above and beyond for your nephew, while Eric is dropping the ball. Keep up the good work. Not the asshole. George doesn't want them there. At least someone is prioritizing George. Does Eric pay child support? Info. Do you have full custody of your nephew and his dad has visitations only? Not the asshole. Don't get why people try to force relationships, it just brings dislike, hate. You're not ruining anything. You're respecting your nephew's boundary on how he wants to have a healthy relationship with his dad and Eric is the one ruining it whining about what him, wife want. Not the asshole. A few days ago, he asked if he could bring his wife and her kids. That's not a reasonable ask in the circumstances. George was hurt that his dad was suggesting bringing them, and said that he didn't want to see them. George's wishes are equally important. Eric's wife and her kids can sort their own accommodation. Stand your ground. Kudos for caring and being there for George. Edit, posted before I finished. It's not you ruining your nephew's relationship with his father. You're doing the best you can. And, honestly, it's your nephew that needs your support more. Eric is choosing his new family over his son. And that's really sad. But, there's nothing you can do about this choice, save to support George. I'd be tempted to tell Eric's wife to kick rocks. But, my patience level with that type of bullshit is astronomically low. Good luck. George is lucky to have you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They want to come because they are desperate for a holiday. They want you to provide a free vacation. And being on holiday would mean they will expect to be waited on, cleaned up after, and entertained. Nope. You are not running a bed and breakfast, much less a free one. I feel for George and that he may miss out on a visit from his dad, but the unfortunate truth is that there is not much of a relationship there to begin with. And it's best George starts to lean that and process it, with the help of his therapist. Am I the asshole for telling my husband to PSS off if he didn't like the way I talk?
My 47 female husband, 45 male, doesn't like it when we go out to eat if I pronounce the name of items on the menu correctly in the language they are written in.
For example, if we are eating Chinese food, I will give my order pronouncing my choice in the dialect it is written, typically Mandarin. The same goes for eating Mexican, Italian or German food.
He thinks that I should talk redneck like him even though I have some training in multiple languages. The last straw happened at a Mexican restaurant we frequent and I ordered my food as I normally would and then spoke in Spanish to my adopted brother who walked up at the time and my husband blew his top so I told him to piss off and walked out. Now he is saying I'm trying to be high culture and belittle him and AITA for leaving him alone and stuck with the bill.
So am I the asshole here or what? Not the asshole for ordering food the way you do.
However, if you refer to the way your husband speaks as redneck, you are belittling him.
Hold up, so you put on a Mandarin or Italian accent when ordering food at one of those restaurants?
You don't sound respectful and educated in multiple languages, you just sound insufferable and possibly racist.
I know you think you're super smart and cultured and you want everyone to know how smart and cultured you are, but that's not how that's being perceived. You are the asshole. You are the asshole for being a Peggy Hill.
FYI, every single time you have ordered food pretending you were an expert in dialects, the staff has made fun of you in the kitchen. This is a 0/10 failed attempt at creative writing.
Info. I need an example specifically for Chinese food. What are you ordering and how are you pronouncing it? Because if this is a debate about how to pronounce General Tso's chicken, this is the stupidest argument I can imagine. Esh.
You two both sound completely insufferable. Hope I never have the displeasure of being seated next to you at a restaurant.
Unless you only do this in restaurants where the staff is from those countries, you are the asshole. I speak 4.5 languages and can pronounce a bunch more. The minimum wage waitress at the restaurant does not.
Pronouncing things in correct Italian, French or whatever is only going to confuse servers and make their job harder.
Also, with Mandarin being a tonal language, I hope you're a perfect speaker. Otherwise it's going to sound like you're mocking Chinese people.